Welcome back to the Dark Reading News Desk at Black Hat USA 2025. I'm Terry Sweeney, contributing editor with Dark Reading, and joining us now on the dais is Randy Watkins, Chief Technology Officer with Critical Start. Randy, thanks for joining us on the Dark Reading News Desk.
Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We appreciate you doing this. In your comments, you often draw a clear distinction between notifying customers and truly responding to threats. In a practical sense, what does response actually look like for customers, and how do you prove that specific actions were taken?
Yeah, when you think about MDR, the R is response, and response is a fairly ambiguous term. So when we look at service providers in this area, we see response meaning everything from actual containment of threats to escalation of alerts. In different scenarios, they're both warranted, but what we really want to do is better set expectations of what customers are going to get. So when we say response, we define what that actually means. Is it an active response, containment, eradication, prevention, or is it something like notification and escalation? And then wrapping accountability around that with actual contractual SLAs of 60-minute time to response across all threat alerts to really make sure the customer understands if something comes in within this amount of time, this action will have been taken to either stop the threat from spreading, removing the threat from the device, or preventing the threat from happening in the future.
So one size does not fit all in the response arena?
It doesn't. But allowing the customer that clarity and understanding, and then the transparency inside the platform to see exactly what happened with which alert, and knowing, okay, this threat was contained with this action on this product, whereas this was a notification because of these reasons, really enables them to do the whole trust but verify approach that us in security are so fond of.
Sure. Well, it sounds like what you're tiptoeing up to is this term in business that gets used so often around transparency. So when so many managed detection and response services can feel more like a black box and quite generic, how vital is this transparency to a successful security partnership?
Extremely vital. We've always ridden on the message of transparency, and everybody else tries to claim it as well. And when we talk about transparency, it's not just transparency into what alerts we're getting, but it's also the investigation that we're doing, the responses that we're taking, the sorts of detections that we're pushing inside of the customer's products to generate these threats that we're then responding to. And when you look at how that influences the partnership overall, it enables them to understand where we're filling gaps in their security program, where we're providing value, and in times of breach, being able to interact with our analysts and see what our analysts are doing, and it really speeds up the response and ultimately achieves the goal of lowering attacker dwell time inside the environment.
So these aren't just incident specific, it sounds like it's also investigation specific as well.
It's within the entire service. And if you can't see the value that you're getting, why are you paying for the service? If you don't know what you should be expecting from your service, why have it in the first place? So the transparency is really, it's just part of doing business the right way, but there's so many downstream positive impacts of being transparent with your customers, so everybody does feel like it is a true partnership rather than just a bolt-on service where maybe you're getting value, maybe you're not.
What are some of the specific features that provide this sort of real-time visibility, say during an active investigation?
Yeah, so first of all, they get full transparency into our platform. Our platform is a web-based platform, but we've also built a mobile SOC platform that has exact parity with the web. So now attackers love to come after you 8 o'clock at night on a Friday. Instead of opening up your laptop, tethering in, cracking open the console and trying to dig through it, you pull out your mobile phone where you see the alerts that we've escalated. You see exactly what our SOC has done in our investigation. And then you have options to respond using your products and APIs back into your products from your phone. So it's the ability to access all of the data, everything that's been happening, everything that our analysts have done in a unified kind of timeline format, but then also take response actions where you've dictated through custom rules of engagement, do not isolate this host. Okay, well that host is beaconing out, it needs to be isolated, do it quickly. The transparency into what our analysts have already done, and then that recommendation back to the customer with the ability to act on it from anywhere with the mobile SOC really enables them to kind of cut down the attacker dwell time inside the environment.
Right. You've alluded to this already, but I'm curious how you really view the role of service in helping customers get the most out of managed detection and response. Can you take a deeper cut at that?
Yeah, so MDR is a technology-enabled service. And a lot of people confuse it with a technology with a potentially attached service. The humans are at the center of what we're offering. The platform is just a way to deliver the service, and it helps us scale, and there's a lot of added benefits. But when we look at service delivery, really that's going to drive the adoption and the success of the MDR inside of their security program. That's how we become an extension rather than a bolt-on. So when we look at how do we offer the service, it all starts with onboarding. So we do have a project management organization, we do have a customer success function, we do have an engineering team that assists with the onboarding, the adoption, really getting them trained up on the service, how to use the platforms. But then once we turn it over into SOC, they have a direct line into SOC. They have the customer success manager that's with them throughout their lifetime at Critical Start. And then we also have just come out with what we call an ASA, or an advisory SOC analyst, which is a senior level SOC analyst that's partially dedicated to their environment, that's really focused on their data and can provide even more value on top of it. So the humans are at the center of what we do. The technology just enables them to scale, do their jobs more efficiently, and make their verdicts more quickly.
Excellent. A lot of organizations make the mistake of thinking that more tools means more outcomes, more protections. They end up drowning in both tools and alerts, which isn't really what probably they were going for. What's the solution here? How do you guide customers in these instances?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a product problem, it's an outcome problem. They have all the right tools, they're just not getting the outcomes. MDRs in general really help them operationalize those existing security investments with the right MDR, of course. But what we look at is first the configuration of the security products. Is it set up to do what you expect it to do? Then the operationalization of it by bringing those alerts into our SOC, doing the investigation, and giving them those outcomes of, hey, it detected a threat. Maybe it was a medium or a low, but our SOC is still looking at it because it's still a threat. Just because it's not a critical or a high yet doesn't mean it's going to be. So why not stop the threats a little bit earlier on? So what customers are really after is the outcomes of the tools that they bought. So by kind of putting the team behind it that they oftentimes don't have themselves, we not only enable them to get those outcomes from their security investment, but we also enable them to repurpose their headcount, where instead of chasing down product configurations or looking at an endless number of alerts, they can really look at procedure and policy and make bigger impacts to security where it matters for the organization, while Critical Start does the back end work of resolving all of those alerts and containing the threats real time.
All right. Well, Randy, take us out with some thoughts on AI. Curious how Critical Start views itself as a differentiator with its own AI offering.
Yeah, I mean, there's, 1,000 companies right below us that are all preaching the good word of AI. It's a great technology. I love it. I lead the AI initiatives inside of Critical Start. But when we started talking to customers, we have a customer advisory board, we asked them, hey, this is our approach to AI, what do you guys think? And overwhelmingly, there's a trepidation on letting AI be fully autonomous when it comes to security operations, specifically containment. So our approach is AI accelerated, human validated. The humans are still at the center of everything we do, but we call it SOC AI internally. With SOC AI, it's gathering all the necessary data and it's presenting that to them in a dossier format where they can accept the output of SOC AI, they can very quickly read it, verdict on it, and then they take the actions, they do the write-ups. So we're not transitioning everything over to a fully autonomous platform. We still want humans to give them the quality they expect from our service, but we want AI to help speed up the process of that investigation. So we're, again, lowering that dwell time, lowering that time to investigate, and very quickly getting verdicts out the door so we can take those containment actions.
All right. Well, Randy, I want to thank you for coming on News Desk and helping us better understand the importance of good response in the whole MDR equation. Thanks for doing this.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We've been talking with Randy Watkins of Critical Start. This has been Terry Sweeney for the Dark Reading News Desk. Thanks for joining us for this segment. We'll see you next time.